Hey, I am so glad you're with me today, bosses, because I'm going to share with you how you can avoid shutting down when you're feeling overwhelmed. If you have experienced any situation where you've got a lot on your plate and as a result, feelings of overwhelm occur and, things just happen. And when that occurs, we're not getting a whole lot accomplished, are we? Probably not. And this happens when we are feeling stressed, feeling overwhelmed, and also it's because of the circumstances or situation that we have put ourselves in. And when this happens, we also are not getting a whole lot done. We either shut down or we just give up completely. And when this happens, our energy levels are low. Fear ends up running our lives, procrastination occurs a whole lot more, and our mind kind of stops working. So we kind of forget stuff. So the real reason I'm so excited that you're here today is because I want to help you be able to thrive and not just survive. All right? So I'm Dr. Heather Williamson, and welcome back to the channel. All right, so let's talk about this feelings of stress and overwhelm. And when this happens, it can be chronic if this continues over time and you're not addressing it. So when I talk about being chronic, it's one of the first symptoms or things that we kind of experience is that brain freeze where we just forget stuff. And this is happening because the electrical currents that we've got going to our brain that are associated with factual memories are getting weakened. And this, makes us forgetful and we just cannot remember things or possibly, even things that we should be doing, should be focusing on. We just kind of get in that overwhelmed, shutdown state. And another thing that happens when we have that chronic stress from feeling overwhelmed is our amygdala is actually the fear center in our brain. And what happens is stress kind of dumps into that amygdala. And when that happens, that fear, stress, kind of levels of anxiety increase. And it's just that horrible cycle that we get ourselves in. And so we do not want to be in that chronic state of overwhelm and stress and anxiety. And this is what I really want to help with you today because, as a psychologist, it really comes down to mindset and strategies on changing that mindset. So one of the things that I want to focus on how you can avoid, avoid shutting down and feeling overwhelmed is recognizing that when this happens, when we have feelings of overwhelm and a little bit of stress, it's normal. It is normal. It is okay. It's going to happen. And I'll give you a perfect example. So last week was my husband's and my 24th wedding anniversary. And so I wanted to get away. I mean, this whole COVID mess, our vacations didn't happen. And I'm at the point where I need to get away and have a little mental break of my own. And my mental break is going to a beach. I like to hear the waves. I like to have my toes in the sand. And there was a lot to do before we took off a week ago Saturday. And, with that, I had a list of everything that I needed to do. I needed to do multiple videos because I was not going to be around. And I wanted them, on the YouTube channel for you guys. I also had to write the scripts. I had to, create content. All of that is in play. Plus the editing and the uploading and then putting it in YouTube. It was a lot to do. In addition, mind you, that I have a garden and I picked 2 bags of string beans. We had to can 11 string beans jars before we left. I had a pack. I have chickens and cats, outside cats. I had to, make sure that that person was up to date on what needed to be done for them. It was overwhelming, to say the least. But the good news is that I know it will pass. It soon shall pass. And that's the mindset that I have. I just got to knock it out. And so, which leads me to my second little strategy for you guys, and that is to identify what it is that you need to get accomplished. And when it comes to identifying it, I want you to get down to the level of the action steps. So think about what it is that is stressing you out, causing you to feel overwhelmed, and write it down. Create a list. And then when you have that list, then go back to your items and go, all right, with each item that I've got on here, like I just shared with you guys, is what has to happen under each of those items, and be specific with those action steps. Which then leads me into my third strategy for you guys, and that is to prioritize and delegate. And because now you have identified, you know what you need to focus on, now it's prioritizing how you're going to get it done. And not everything can be the number one priority. Just remember that. Not everything can be number one. So you've got to be realistic when it comes to identifying when you're going to get things done and what date you're going to get them done by. And be realistic, because if a lot of times we're feeling overwhelmed because we put this pressure on ourselves because we're unrealistic in what we can accomplish within a certain specific time frame. And that's what I don't want you guys to happen to you. So be realistic when you are setting your expectations on when you can accomplish that specific task that needs to be done. Also, what I want you to think about is maybe some things need to be broken down into more manageable steps or chunks. And then once you break that down even further, then identify, all right, what should I be focusing on? And then what can I delegate out? What can somebody else take off my plate so I don't have that feeling of stress and they can handle it, and then we get it accomplished. So that's what I want you to do for that third step. And then step 4, which I am a huge proponent of, which is celebrate the small wins. I share this in a lot of these videos that I do because it is a mindset changer. Once you start celebrating small wins, your level of enthusiasm increases, you're excited, especially when you start checking things off, and your levels of overwhelm and stress start, decreasing, which is huge. So celebrate those small wins, and don't forget to, whatever they may be, whether it's a walk, around the block, or, just taking a break and half an hour and picking up your favorite book, whatever, business book, it could be a topic on something on leadership, who knows? But celebrate the small wins. They will do wonders for your mindset, and your levels of stress will drastically reduce, I promise you. You'll feel so much better. All right. So I kind of wanted to share with you that, yeah, it's about mindset, but once you actually start thinking about what it is that is causing you to overwhelm, and you identify those things, it really comes down to the decisions that you make and how you're going to put that into action. So it's all about what you're going to do. And with that, let's just go ahead and recap those 4 strategies that you can use to avoid feeling overwhelmed, and because of that you're shutting down because of feelings of stress. So first is to recognize that the feelings of your stress and feeling overwhelmed at times is normal. It's okay. It too shall pass. The second is to identify the feelings, where they're coming from. Be realistic. Identify where they're coming from. And then the third is to prioritize and delegate those tasks that are causing you to feel overwhelmed and wanting to shut down. And then the fourth is to celebrate the small wins when you get those things accomplished. And even if you have a smile on your face, that can even be a small win. Your levels of stress kind of decreases, you're feeling less overwhelmed. That is a small win. All right. So with that, I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please like it down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And with that, go out and be the boss that your employees want to work for. All right? Bye.